but their actions will.
All right, folks, we do have a tornado warning that has been issued for the area, and we're likely, let's go ahead and bring this up full here. Look, we've got a storm here that is very, very intense. Let's go ahead and bring up the warning data, and we've started to see a little bit of spin up actually begin to develop here on kind of the northern fringe of this storm as it approaches the Spiro and Panama areas right now over Bacoshi. So in Bacoshi, let's go ahead and get in that safe spot right now. We've got an area of circulation that's just started to develop right there in really right over the Bacoshi area. And I want to show you that area of spin up we're talking about right here. And we're going to pull this area up here, and you can really pick it out fairly clearly here in the area between Bacoshi and Ward. You see the area north of Panama right here, and this is kind of what we're talking about, this area where it goes from these brighter reds, which is really what we're seeing there, folks, is wind moving very quickly away from the radar, and then you get this area where the wind just slows down almost immediately. And when you see that, and even when you start to see that a little bit of a push toward the radar, as you see with the green color right here, that gives you an idea of where your rotation is. Now, it's a fairly, again, broad area of rotation, but it has tightened up a little bit on the northern fringe here as it approaches the Sunset Corner area, and certainly the Panama area, definitely in that concerned threat area that we're watching for. So everywhere within this box here, and again, it's pretty clear on the map that you can see that. Let's go ahead and come back over to our radar, and you can see that again, that bright red box right here. Everyone in this box is in the tornado warning, so that includes us actually all the way down to the Shady Point area. And let's go ahead and zoom out just a little bit more. You can see where Poto's at right here. Poto's to the south of this tornado warning, but certainly in the path of the storm, which is a severe thunderstorm warned storm. You can zoom out just a little bit more here, and you can see this yellow box right here. That's our severe thunderstorm warning. Within this box in LaFleur County, we're concerned about damaging winds, maybe a little bit of hail, but not the really big stuff, but certainly some hail, especially right over the Panama area coming in right now. But of course, along with that, within this storm, there is the circulation and the potential for, in addition to those strong winds, a tornado perhaps briefly developing. So this is moving mainly kind of off to the east for us. Robert, do we have any new information from the National Weather Service on the storm?
No, not yet, other than that this is a radar indicated storm that could produce a tornado. No confirmation of anything on the ground, though, but that doesn't mean that you need to take this less seriously. Get to your safe spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and put this in motion again for you real quick here. And you can see most of these storms are actually pushing generally off to the north and east, but this one storm is kind of taking more of a right turn to it, at least the circulation within the storm has. And you can see that the warning itself is really more west to east oriented here. And let's go ahead and stop the map again. And again, here's our tornado warning. So we're going to go ahead and zoom in. Here's the Fort Smith Van Buren area. Look, for us, we're going to get impacted by these storms. We're probably going to see the wind pick up. We're going to see a good bit of lightning, that kind of thing, very heavy rain. But the primary tornado threat for us in Fort Smith and Van Buren is just to our south. Obviously, that doesn't help us out in Bacola and in the Panama area and these areas, but at least it does give us a little bit of good news in the Fort Smith Van Buren area. Now, this area of the storm, this northern fringe of the storm, could also intensify a little bit. We'll see, but right now it really is this area right over Panama, right over the Panama area, and you can see again the Shady Point here and Bacoshi a little bit farther off to the west. Let's go ahead and switch again, and I want to pull up our Tulsa Stormwell velocity data, because this also gives us a pretty good idea of the broad spin within this storm. It does, the whole storm is actually rotating, and you can see it right here, where you've got the reds, again, moving away from the radar, which is to the north, and the greens moving toward the radar. So you're getting this spin, overall spin within the storm. We can see that clearly. Now, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that there's a tornado on the ground, but the National Weather Service in Tulsa has issued a tornado warning for this storm, and for good reason. There is certainly a tighter area of spin up right there as it comes over the area just north of Panama, and within the Panama area too. That's definitely a concern. We do have some cameras. We can kind of take a little bit of a look at this storm. We've got our camera in Fort Smith, actually. Whew, wow. I'll go ahead and step off camera there, but this is pointed toward the southwest in the direction of these storms. It's basically looking right over LaFleur County, and we can see quite a bit of lightning with these storms. Robert, have you noticed the lightning going up?
Slightly, I have.
A good bit was, okay.
And another good point that the Weather Service did make was that this tornado could be hidden by the extremely heavy rainfall that is also included with this severe thunderstorm.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that people need to take into account.
And I would say it's almost a guarantee that it would be a rain wrapped. If we have a tornado on the ground, it is a virtual guarantee it's rain wrapped. There's no chance of seeing it. Obviously, it's dark outside. Sometimes you can see those tornadoes if they're not completely rain wrapped. But tonight, there's no way of seeing it. We can just see the lightning right here. I want to point this out, too. For all the folks, of course, watching the president tonight, we are streaming that on 4029tv.com. And I meant to mention that earlier on, but I wanted to get to the information on the tornado, obviously, as quickly as possible. I want to bring that up right now. We are streaming all of that on 4029tv.com. 4029tv.com, and you can get all of that from the president. So obviously a very important speech. We wouldn't break in if we didn't have to. Now we do have, again, this tornado warning. Let's go ahead and get the information on this. It goes until 9:15. So for the next about 15 minutes, 16 minutes or so, and again, we're still seeing that a little bit of circulation with this storm. Not a ton. It's actually, we start, and Robert, I don't know if you'd agree with me on this or not, but it looks like it's actually, we've seen this rotation maybe actually go down just a little bit if we can put this in motion.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. You know, you see some of those earlier frames.
Yeah.
Much clearer looking circulation now that is kind of diminished. Now, it doesn't mean that the threat is ending or is lessening, you know, because these things can spin right back up.
It could, but it's a positive trajectory to be in, that you're seeing this development. Could you do me a favor, Robert, if you can take us back in time, just scroll the timer on back to when we had this a little bit more intense, a little bit farther to the west over Bacoshi. If you can just take us back in time just a little bit, and we'll notice that again, this storm definitely was a good bit more intense in terms of its rotation earlier. I want to show you this right here. I'm going to zoom in really close, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. This is what prompted the tornado warning. When we started to see this tighter area of spin begin to develop right over Bacoshi, we got very worried about it. Alerted the newsroom, we might have a tornado warning, and here's the tornado warning. Now, Robert, if you can take us through time here, you'll see what we're talking about here in terms of, and I'll have to step off camera, I see what the problem is. If you take us through time here, you can see they issue the tornado warning, and then we start to see that area of spin, which again, if we go back in time just a little bit, just a few more minutes back in time, you'll see it right there. There it is. And then as we go through time, we start to see that again kind of kind of begin to basically come to an end. So definitely still a storm we've got to watch, but that is a very positive development, seeing that the rotation on it has come down just a little bit. I want to pull up real quick. We've got other problems with the storm, and really quick our CC values. If there were a tornado in this area where we have that spin up in the atmosphere, and again, for our Fort Smith radar, we know it's generally in this area, we would see those CC values dropping. Now we're seeing something going on perhaps right here, and granted, the values drop right there, but we can't say definitively if that's actually related to the circulation within this storm just yet. That's going to be something to watch, though. I definitely want to come back to that. But let's go back to our radar, and actually let's go to our base velocity real quick, because this is something we've been watching pretty closely too, the very intense winds within this storm. And so what I'm going to do is zoom in on the area right around Shady Point, and we're going to see some of these brighter colors right here. Let's go ahead and pull up some of this information. Right around 40 miles per hour, so not terribly strong, but definitely some gustier winds at times with this storm. We've seen it on radar again at times as it's pushed its way across LaFleur County. Again, just now joining us, we've got a tornado warning over the northern part of LaFleur County right here, approaching the Pensacola area and areas around Panama as well. Maybe seeing something new develop here just a little bit to the east of Panama. Let's go ahead and pull up our radar again. Well, no, I don't know about that, because what we're seeing right here is what we call a weak bounded echo region. And so we may be getting the storm maybe trying to cycle a little bit and re-intensify. It is very interesting. Robert's got some new information. Robert, what do you have for us?
Well, the Weather Service is trying to monitor and saying that the storm appears to be trying to spin up between Spiro and Panama now. So maybe a fresh circulation in that area.
Okay, that would again be kind of in the center of this storm, and if we did actually get a circulation there, again, that would be completely wrapped in again just an absolute just mess of rain right there. So so that is interesting. So that's the latest from is that from Steve?
That is, yes.
It is, okay. All right, so again, still pretty intense storm as it moves across LaFleur County. Still looks like the most intense part of it kind of going a little bit south of Fort Smith and Van Buren, but you know what? We've got quite a bit of heavy rain, lightning, wind to work its way through the Van Buren area as well.
Also,
Robert's got some other information. Robert,
this storm apparently, folks, if the tornado threat wasn't bad enough now, it looks like it could further strengthen, and now inch to inch and a half hail has become a potential, as it has the potential to continue to intensify as it gets into Sebastian County.
Yeah, I could see that. My goodness. All right, let's take a look at the hail with this. All right, hail probability is what we'll pull up right here, and this is going to give us the probability of basically severe hail, and now we're starting to see it right there. Let's go ahead and stop the map. We didn't have it earlier, but there it is, basically right just a little bit northeast of Panama, moving toward the Rock Island area, toward the Pensacola area. Yeah, just a little bit. So would have gone right over the Panama area, may have seen some hail there, and now starting to see some of the bigger hail actually just a little bit farther to the east. As you get a little bit closer, it looks like to Pensacola, and again, you can see these areas of pink that we're talking about right here. That's where we've got that concern over the larger hail. I suspect in the next update, we're going to see that expand a good little bit from what we're seeing on radar and from what we're hearing from the National Weather Service as well. We're going to see that, I think, expand. We could have some sizable hail. We got some golf ball size hail earlier right around Denning.
Yes.
Yeah, right around Denning. So yeah, that's a concern. And actually, this is interesting right here. This area right, okay, so this is, wow. What we're seeing here, I think actually, folks, is very interesting. We're seeing a lot of basically the lower atmosphere getting sucked into this storm right here, and you can see how it kind of starts to wrap in just a little bit, or at least that's what it kind of looks like if we put it in motion. It kind of looks that way. So that tells me we have got a storm that's trying to organize more. Let's go ahead and pull up our storm relative velocity data. All right. Still not seeing anything within this area anyway that screams absolute tornado on the ground, though we do have still right around Cameron now some of that more significant spin up right there. Let's go ahead and pull up base velocity data, and I want to actually stop this map because it's moving us a little bit too fast here. But we can see some of that spin up right around Cameron and Williams, just a little bit right there. I think this is bad radar data, I think is what we're seeing right there. So I don't think that's realistic. In fact, that might even be part of one of our mountain groups in this area south of Fort Smith. So that may be what that really is. But anyway, we are seeing some of that spin still in this area between Cameron and Williams, not to the point that I think we actually have, and again, we don't have a significant lowering in values, and what I mean by that is the blues right here. If we were to see that kind of nestled in between all this red, that would indicate the radar is seeing a bunch of stuff in the atmosphere basically that are all different sizes and different shapes. And oftentimes when you have that within an area of circulation, that's actually the storms or the radar is picking up on tornado debris. But I don't think that's what we're seeing right here, right now. That's good news, but this storm is really trying to intensify. I mean, it really is. It's a fairly impressive looking cell now as we kind of zoom out a little bit. A fairly impressive little supercell, and it's really part of what we would call almost a quasi-linear convective system. I'm not going to get into that too much, but what that is basically just a line of storms. It kind of looks like an S shape a lot of times on radar, and so there's your S shape right there, okay? And when we see that, a lot of times with these type of storms, there are brief tornadoes, and there's also strong straight line winds. Damaging winds, and so that's a big part of the concern, along with maybe a brief tornado in there, but now they've actually expanded the severe thunderstorm warning. This is new to include all of Fort Smith, and it looks like a good portion of Van Buren, if not just about all of Van Buren. So this now goes till 9:45 this evening. I suspect they're going to allow for this warning to eventually expire. But let's go ahead and take a look again at this storm. And this is again from our camera in downtown Fort Smith. I'll step off. And there's that lightning. Again, just kind of off and on in this area, and I suspect that our camera, our other camera on the south side of Fort Smith should be able to see a little bit of this as well. And in fact, it looks like it's already maybe getting some rain. Yeah, there's that lightning.
So we are
and Robert's got some new information. Robert, what do you have?
Just a few things here. First, on the tornado warning, I did see a report into the Weather Service that the emergency manager near Panama did, and that is some impressive lightning you see on your screen there, did report as the storm passed by Panama, definitely seen some rotation. I'm sure it was lightning lit and some lowering of the cloud deck. Now on to that expanded severe thunderstorm warning that has been extended here. 70-mile-an-hour wind gust, Darby, and quarter-size hail possible or expected with this storm as it moves to the northeast at 30 miles an hour. Let's
do two things. If you could check the Mesonet for me, Robert, and also if you can check the OBS website. It's the strongest wind gust over the last hour or so.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get that information. All right, so we're looking at this storm again as it comes into LaFleur County here. Let's go ahead and switch off of this. And wow, this storm really still looks, it actually looks more impressive now than it has up to this point on radar. I mean, this is a beastly looking cell right now moving through the river valley. Just an incredible size to it, but I think a lot of that harkens back to the amount of just incredible just water that's in the atmosphere. I mean, we've got incredible amount of moisture that's just pushing into the area, which was what led to the flash flooding that we had this morning in Benton and northern Washington County. Just incredible amount of rain because we've got just that much water in the atmosphere, and so you get these very large cells like what we've got here coming into Fort Smith and into Greenwood as well. And a big part of the concern is the damaging winds. Now, I want to come back over here to our base velocity data. That's going to give us the best idea of where those winds are at. I want to put this in motion real quick here to kind of get an idea of where there's bad data. And it looks like we've got some bad data perhaps right in here near the Slaytonville area, a little bit south of Rock Island, a little bit south of Hackett. So a little bit of bad data right there, but this these areas of brighter reds, I suspect that's actually pretty good data. It's hard to say exactly how strong the winds are going to be out here, but it does look like, anyway, our radar is doing a pretty good job of picking out wind strength, which doesn't look particularly strong right in here, but a little bit farther to the north. So I'll have to watch that. Let's go ahead and pull up again our storm relative velocity data right here. And we're getting some bad data right here from our radar, which is unfortunate, but not seeing significant spin up still, just seeing a little bit of rotation here. And Robert, you mentioned earlier that there was a report of just general rotation.
Yes.
In LaFleur County. Where was that at?
That was outside of Panama by the emergency manager there, reporting that lowering of the cloud deck and some rotation.
Okay. Did you find? Have you seen any stronger wind gusts?
No wind gusts yet. Okay. The closest I can see is well to the south, and that was a 32-mile-an-hour gust south of the main cell. Well,
that is good news. Now, the hail probability. Let's pull this back up and see what's happened with it. That's good to see on there. Let's go ahead and put this in motion. See kind of what may have happened with it. We only saw that hail probability pop up for a short period of time right there, and then it went away. That's a little bit of a surprise from this storm because, again, it is. But we have seen the DBZ, what we call DBZ, the reflectivity of the storm, the amount of what's coming back from the storm to the radar has decreased a little bit for us. So, yeah, I can see why maybe it's lowering the probability of significant hail. Robert, you got some new information?
Yeah, the Weather Service does say that they do plan on extending. A new tornado warning will be coming here shortly. We are watching for a smaller circulation that has tightened up between Panama and Rock Island.
The one we've been talking about.
Yeah. And there's apparently a strong twist in the storm that is just northwest of Cameron right now, which is just basically on the center of your screen. And you see that brand new polygon for that tornado warning just popping up now.
Yeah, there it is right there. So we've got a new tornado warning. Let's go ahead and stop the map, get the information on this new warning. And this one goes to 9:45, and you can see it basically encompasses an area from Greenwood here over to Hackett to Bacola, over to Cameron, over to Witcherville, and right to about Midland, kind of on the very southern fringe of this new tornado warning issued until 9:45. So let's go ahead and inspect this storm. And before we get too much into that right there, I want to zoom in a little bit on Fort Smith and Van Buren. Again, we've got a lot of rain coming in right now. And here we can see Fort Smith, and here we can see Van Buren just on the edge of this. But this is about to really hit right here, and that rain is going to come in. I'm a little bit worried, just a little bit, that we could see some flash flooding set up very, very quickly. We didn't see a ton of rain in Fort Smith earlier today, but we did see some rain. So about a little over an inch of rain in many areas. And this is going to drop an inch of rain in maybe 30 minutes. So it is a little bit of a concern flash flooding wise. But let's zoom in a little bit closer here. Rock Island area in particular. So we're talking Rock Island over to Hackett is kind of it looks like the focal point for where that circulation is and really where we could see a tornado develop. What we've got here is a very interesting situation in which you can see right in through here this drier air, and it still just kind of seeps right in. What we've got going on right here, folks, is warm, humid air kind of pushing into this area right here and then lifting upward. And the lift upward right in through here, the lift upward is so strong it prevents any rain from falling. If you've got updrafts that strong, then more than likely you're going to have a little bit of hail at least. We've got reports earlier again tonight of golf ball size hail in parts of Franklin County. We know that's a possibility. So just north of Rock Island, actually, it looks like we might have an area of hail kind of moving right there between Rock Island and Hackett. So definitely that's a big part of this concern as well, along with the possibility of a quick tornado. Let's go ahead and I want to pull up again the spin up within this storm, and still seeing it. It's still clearly there. And it does help a good bit that we're as close to the radar as we are, because the radar is right here. So this tornado warning almost goes up to the radar here. Just to the south of the radar, it's got a good view of it, and it's still indicating that spin up right here. So let's pick that out for everybody. So for example, north of Rock Island and north of Hackett right now, the main concern is not a tornado, it's in fact that hail and those strong straight line winds. But this area just to the east of Cameron, right on the Arkansas-Oklahoma line right here. So right on the Sebastian-LeFlore County line, just south of Hackett, that's where we've got the spin up. And I would say this to everybody within this area from Rock Island over to really just north of Midland and over to Greenwood as well, actually. We need to be getting into that safe spot. Now, Greenwood's right on the edge. Sorry about that, folks. Greenwood's right on the edge of this tornado warning, and it's still actually a good ways off to your southwest. Robert, how fast is this one moving?
East at 30 miles an hour, and according to the chat here, main circulation aloft appears to be about 4 miles southwest of Hackett, as you were saying, about to cross into Arkansas.
Yeah. So, okay. East at 30 miles per hour. Thank you for that, Robert. Let's draw a track on this. Again, it's not necessarily, this does not scream tornado on the ground, but it definitely says tornado either on the ground or could form at any time. So we may not have one right now, but it could form very quickly. And let's go ahead and see if we can draw this track. I don't know if I've got enough space right here. Looks like I do. You said about 30 miles per hour. Is that right off to the east, Robert?
Yeah,
and
east at 30.
Let's go ahead and expand the number of towns and cities that we can get in here. One second here, folks.
What's important to note here, folks, is that the environment where these storms are moving into is certainly ripe to continue the storms to hold their own, if not continue to strengthen it. They're not heading into a weaker environment or an environment that would lessen their strength. There's plenty of energy for these storms to continue to develop further, if not strengthen and hold their own as they continue to press off. It's just not what you're seeing on your screen. Storms all around can continue to strengthen here over the next couple of hours. So definitely do not want to let your guard down, Darby.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were able to fix that little problem right there. But Montreal, you can see some different towns on here. Witcherville at 936. And you can see the Abbott area right around 946. So some towns there in terms of where this area of circulation is going to be and when, or where it could be and when. Those are some of your towns there for you. We also are getting in Melody, our producer Melody, just getting in my IFB, letting me know that apparently a viewer's, perhaps, was it more than one viewer, Melody, or was it just one? Just one phone call. Okay, so we got one phone call that the sirens are going off, at least in parts of Fort Smith. We don't know that for certain, but I can tell you that on the south side of Fort Smith, you might be hearing some of the sirens from some of these towns a little bit farther to the south. I can't imagine you can hear it from Hackett. There's almost no chance of that, but perhaps on the south side of Fort Smith, they could be running those sirens because there's concern over strong straight line winds. Not every town will necessarily run their sirens just for a tornado. Some towns will in fact run their sirens if they're expecting, or if they're concerned anyway, about strong straight line winds. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at just that and see if we've got any new information for folks. And let's get that off of right there. There we go. And it doesn't look like we've actually seen, at least there's not evidence on radar at the moment that the winds are necessarily intensifying with this. Let's go ahead and pull up our camera in Fort Smith, though, and we might actually, let's go start with the south side of town. Can't see much right there. I'm going to go ahead and try to switch our camera. Or not, just move the camera a little bit if I can. Let's see here. And it might give us a little better idea.
Yeah, regardless, folks, of the potential for the tornado, again, as we've been stressing, it's still a severe thunderstorm. It's a storm that absolutely means business. You can see here on our Fort Smith cam as we rotate it for you, extremely heavy rainfall coming down right now. I did see a few minutes ago in the chat that we did get a chase report of a 73-mile-an-hour wind gust, Darby, 2 miles southwest of Rock Island.
Okay, 73-mile-per-hour wind gust just southeast of Rock Island?
Southwest of Rock Island. Yes.
Okay. All right. So those winds are definitely picking up there in LaFleur County. That winds over 70 miles per hour are generally going to cause fairly significant damage over a fairly large area. You're usually going to see a few trees uprooted. You're usually going to see roof damage. You're usually going to see just power line problems, and occasionally you'll have trees or branches at least falling into power lines with those kinds of winds. We're not seeing too much right here, so I want to go over to our camera in downtown Fort Smith. And we'll go ahead and pull that up and see if we can see. Well, not going to be able to see anything right there either, it looks like, other than maybe the occasional lightning. So let's go back to our radar, and let's go ahead and actually switch on over to just our full radar and continue to take a look at this storm as it continues to make its way through Sebastian County. Very intense storm still for us. And you look into northwest Arkansas, we've got some showers and thunderstorms moving in. I like what I'm seeing, though, in Benton and Washington County, especially in Benton County, where the brunt of the rain this morning was. Yeah, we've had some showers and thunderstorms this evening. We've got a few more now, but it doesn't look insanely intense like what we had this morning. We're probably going to have some more of that rain push through later on tonight, but the way it's setting up right now, we're starting to, it looks like anyway, we're starting to get this boundary setting up right in through here, and then that's just going to eventually progress off to the east with the occasional thunderstorm behind it, but that greater flooding threat along this boundary and then to the east, I think, as we go throughout the night. And being that Benton County and some of the hardest hit areas this morning are a little bit to the north and west of that, that's good news for those folks. Let's go ahead. Robert, did you have any new information?
Well, we want to briefly touch on that new severe thunderstorm warning that's been issued for western Logan County, northern Scott County. This storm, and this shows you what we were just talking about, now 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible, and golf ball size hail is possible with these storms as they continue to slide off. Now they've picked up speed. They're moving to the east now, Darby, at 50 miles an hour. So we had reports earlier today of golf ball size hail from some other severe thunderstorms. Golf ball size hail can do some serious damage when you think about, you know, the terminal velocity of those falling from the sky. So you want to, if you're in your car, you're outside for some reason, get indoors, get to that safe place away from those doors and windows. And
that some of that biggest hail probably right over Greenwood. Probably right over Greenwood. All right, so still a very intense storm, very large storm. Really, the tornado warning, if you're just now joining us, still going through 9:45. Look, and again, if you're looking for the president, we've got that airing on 4029tv.com. But we've got to cover, obviously, we've got to cover this tornado warning, the dangers with it, and really the big dangers right now, right over Greenwood, right over Fort Smith and Van Buren, too, in terms of, you know, some stronger winds and that kind of thing. We're not worried about hail, big hail in Fort Smith or Van Buren. The area I'm worried about it is really right over Greenwood. Where we're seeing the most intense part of the storm kind of moving through right now. Let's see if we can get some more information on. Let's start off. I want to quickly look at the oh, wow. Robert, look at that.
Yeah, I'm seeing that as well.
All right, you seeing this, Robert? Okay. Now we're starting to see, and it looked like on radar it was starting to take on a more organization. This is not good here, folks, what we're seeing here. Look, this is right in the area just south of Excelsior. You can see Hackett right here. Hackett, it's behind you. We're good in Hackett now. But this just now forming right here between Excelsior and Montreal, and I want to zoom out a little bit here so we can get an idea of where Greenwood is. Here's Greenwood. So this is actually kind of making its way to the south of Greenwood. Let me go ahead and put this in motion here.
And we do have a report from some spotters reporting to the Weather Service just west of Greenwood that there is some lowering that is taking place right now. That's by two different spotters, probably for what you're seeing right there on your screen.
Yeah. There's no question about it. All right, so we are seeing this begin to really take shape here, folks, and I don't like this. This is coming right up on Big Rock. Look, Highway 71, the area between the Big Rock, between Big Rock and it looks like, was that Witcherville?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to get a closer look at that. All right. So this is definitely something that this is kind of the thing that we've been watching for, that we were hoping we wouldn't see. Now this is a new update, it looks like, from our radar, which does show a little bit of a lowering of that intensity. I wouldn't call it weakening, but just not quite as intense. But it's still got this more organized spin up with it as it approaches Big Rock. So, and again, the area right around Witcherville, Dayton's right here, Huntington. We're talking areas north of Huntington, just a little bit north of Dayton, but the Dayton area, we need to be in our safe spot. They just issued a new tornado warning, likely because of that increased spin up circulation within this storm. Mel, do you have something for me? Yep, Sebastian County, that as we have we've got a new tornado warning is what we have, and let's go ahead and get the information on that. Let's go ahead and stop the map. And so you see two tornado warnings on here. It's for the same storm, obviously. And here's the new tornado warning, which does extend Well, completely through Greenwood and all the way up to the Logan County line and into southern, it looks like southern Franklin County, right? Yeah, just about into southern Franklin County. So.
Yeah,
and Robert's got something here.
Weather Service saying that, and this is a direct quote, that a significant tornado may be trying to form in Sebastian County, and the Weather Service within this latest tornado warning calling this a particularly dangerous situation with this particular cell. So, you know, we see this rotation back between Big Rock and Witcherville. If you're in Milltown and you're seeing this, you got to get to your safe spot right now. Milltown, Washburn,
yeah, this
even
is
Burnville.
Absolutely. This is a gradually more intense situation we're getting into right here, where we really need to be taking action here. And again, the area around Burnville that Robert was talking about right now. It's that area really very close to Witcherville. So here's Witcherville, and just off to the west of that is where this area of circulation is. Now, what they're well, let's take a look at that. From what I'm seeing on Stormwell, and let's go ahead and pull me up full if you could back there, so we can I can see a little bit better that way. No, not really. So this is the area of spin up. And we haven't seen a significant drop in that correlation coefficient. I wouldn't have suspected that we would. This storm has a lot of potential to eventually develop a strong tornado. We hope that doesn't happen. But I don't see that it has occurred just yet, but it could soon. So that's kind of good news, but still very worrisome for us, very worrisome for us. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take that off right there, and we'll take the tornado warning down. Again, if you're just now joining us, we do have a tornado warning for Sequoia, or for Sebastian County, and this actually doesn't go quite into Franklin County, it looks like. Is that right, Robert?
That's correct.
It's maybe just barely.
Yeah, I see
tickling
Charleston
it there.
right. Okay, I see Charleston right here, so it's not quite in there, but it's very close. And I suspect because this storm has really, or basically what we have seen is a consolidation of a very large storm over Leflore County, gradually into this much tighter circulation, much tighter supercell structure. And when you see that, that's why I think why we're hearing from the National Weather Service that there's some concern over perhaps a more intense tornado developing. But again, so far we haven't seen. Have we gotten any reports?
Well, yeah, actually, into the Weather Service. Now, this is some good news. They just got a spotter report of a tornado in that area, but then the circulation almost immediately fell apart.
That would make sense.
Right.
That would make sense. So what Robert's talking about is a tornado briefly forming and then going away very quickly. What we saw earlier, my guess, Robert, what we saw earlier when that rotation was more intense, that's probably when it dropped perhaps a brief tornado or nearly got down to ground level. We don't know. We won't know until tomorrow. But my guess is when we saw that rapid intensification earlier, when we were really kind of blown away at how intense the spin up had actually become that quickly, that may have been when we produced a tornado, and then maybe it has kind of gone away. But that spin up can come back very quickly. That's what we're so very, very worried about. And so, again, the areas right around Witcherville, we still need to be in our safe spot. Greenwood, we need to be in our safe spot. We're in this area. If you're right in Greenwood, especially just north of Greenwood, you're more in the hail concern. In fact, I can go ahead and pull up some of that hail probability information. And, well, it's not showing up right there. Go ahead and put this in motion real quick just to make sure we're not missing anything. Yeah, there it is right there. So we were missing it. Okay. It's just right on the warning. So anyway, it is showing up a little bit on there. Not a lot. This is not, looks like a storm that's producing, softball-sized hail or anything, but perhaps the golf ball. Robert's got some new information.
Couple things to note here.
Okay.
One is that the Weather Service is expecting that this storm could spin back up again. It is a very dangerous storm. What's also important to note here, which Darby was just showing you, if he took the radar off, where this particular large cell is moving, very, very mountainous, some of the most mountainous parts of the state. So you're going to have tremendous runoff. You're going to have streams and creeks filling up very, very fast, probably faster than what we saw in northwest Arkansas this morning, as that water, again, water wants to find the path of least resistance. So it is going to fill up those streams and creeks very, very quickly. So,
and this storm is not 30 miles per hour still, or is it?
I believe it's up to 50 miles an hour now.
Oh, it's just sped up.
Yes.
All right. So earlier it was moving quite a bit slower and dropping that heavy rain for a longer period of time. But if it's sped up, that's good news, number one. That's good news in terms of flash flooding, but it's actually bad news in terms of the storm itself. When you see a storm start to speed up like that, that can be an indication that it's starting to organize better. Now, we already know that it's organized better than how it looked earlier on radar, but we don't want that organization. We really don't. We want it to fall apart. We want something to happen within the storm to cause it to begin to collapse, or at least change to the point where we're not seeing that tornado threat anymore. We don't have that just yet. Still a and still kind of a bizarre shaped thunderstorm, and still a fairly large storm, but it has consolidated just a little bit. Again, tornado warning here for us goes until 10:15. This is for Sebastian County, and again, it doesn't really include Fort Smith. I know we have gotten reports, or at least one report anyway, of some sirens maybe near the Fort Smith area. My guess is either that was somebody who maybe lives a little bit south of Fort Smith hearing the sirens a little bit farther south, or it may have briefly sounded for a period of time and then went away. But we don't have that tornado warning in Fort Smith, and at this point we don't know of any terribly dangerous winds. Have we gotten any reports
just
from
the
Fort
70,
Smith?
Not in Fort Smith.
Not in Fort Smith. Okay.
The only thing that we saw was that report a little bit earlier ago of a 73-mile-an-hour gust. But what's important to note is we have the few severe thunderstorm warnings. We've got the tornado warnings, but the overall umbrella is a tornado watch for the entire river valley that goes until 2 a.m. So this may not be, our only run-in with tornado warnings. This threat is expected to last for the next several hours. The River Valley missed out on the weather excitement this morning. Now it's in your area. It's literally in your backyard. So we continue to watch this very, very dangerous severe thunderstorm across portions of the River Valley. Again, Big Rock, Greenwood, Burnville, Milltown, all of those locations need to take this very, very seriously. And what complicates this isn't that classic textbook supercell that you see with the definitive hook echo where you know, okay, right smack dab on the map, that's where the rotation is, that's where the tornado might be on the ground. This is a very, very messy situation that we're dealing with here in the River Valley. So if you are out ahead of this tornado warning, if you're in Boonville right now, you need to be taking this very seriously. You have to put your plan of action into place now. It is much better to be safer than sorry. Again, you can replace property, you can replace items. You cannot replace a life, Darby. That is the most important message. Yeah,
and look, this is a storm that up to this point has not gotten a new tornado warning on it just yet, which is pretty positive news. But here's the thing, what's kind of going on here is that Franklin County into Sebastian County, those are covered by our National Weather Service office in Tulsa. Logan County is covered by our National Weather Service in Little Rock. And they do a very good job communicating back and forth usually. And I think in this case they certainly are doing just that. But it could be that the National Weather Service in Little Rock just doesn't see that tornado threat lasting into Logan County. We'll see. But it certainly still is there right now, right over the Burnville area, right over Milltown. We need to be in our safe spot. In Greenwood, we've just about seen the worst of this storm. push to our east. Just give it a couple more minutes and we can come out of that safe spot. We're good. You know, the Montreal area over to Hackett, for whatever reason, this tornado warning has been left on there. And I don't know why, but Hackett over to Jenny Lind and over to Montreal and really just about to Witcherville now and almost to Big Rock as well. We're just about ready in those areas to come out of our shelter. And I would say, again, certainly Montreal, Hackett, we're good to go. This is now well off to our east, but it is approaching the Boonville area. Robert's got some information.
And Jordan, you mentioned the Little Rock office. They are monitoring this storm very, very closely in Logan County, but they say right now they don't plan on issuing a tornado warning, which is certainly good news. And I know our new anchor, Brandon, he did check with emergency officials in LaFleur County. No reports of any damage, so that is certainly some good news. But
with the 70 southwest of Cameron earlier, the 77, 78.
The wind gust?
Yeah, the wind
73,
gust.
I believe,
oh,
was
73.
From Rock Island, southwest of Rock Island.
Southwest of Rock Island, that's right. There's probably going to be some damage in that area,
yes.
my guess is. But these are rural areas, and so you may not necessarily get damage everywhere. Let's go ahead, and I want to put this back in motion again here. And this is going, I think this is lapsing for an hour. I want to make sure we're lapsing for a little bit less than that.
Again, folks, still watching this tornado warning. It is, you know, as I just told Darby, not expected to be increased or expanded, but that could change at a moment's notice here. So just because you're in Brownsville right now and you don't see that polygon extended into your area doesn't mean you need to take this lightly, because you can see some of those brighter purples and some grays on the radar just northeast of Burnville, signifying some extremely heavy rainfall, if not some larger hail, Darby.
That's probably hail right there. In fact, if you pull up our hail probability, if we don't have anything on there now, we should soon. Nope, there it is. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, that's probably hail. We had some golf ball size hail earlier. My suspicion is that it may not be that big, but definitely hail on the map. Let's go back to our storm relative velocity data, and again, just take another close look at where we've got that spin up within the storm. And from what I'm seeing right here on radar, it really is right over the area just south of Burnville. So that's where we've got the most spin up right now. Can you take us step by step back in time just about a little bit, yet back in time just a little bit? And that, okay, that was diffuse. Well, that may be, is this right now then, or are we still on? Okay, I got to step off screen, right? Yeah, that's right, okay. So we're going to back this up just a little bit, and we're starting to see, yeah, I'll keep going back, go back all 15 minutes. All right, folks, all right, and now let's take it forward again. And we can see, and that's the latest scan right here. We have started to see that spin up really begin to take a firmer, more organized look right over Burnville, all right? In your shelter right now, in the Burnville area, the Milltown area, in your shelter right now. And when I say Milltown, obviously I'm talking about this whole area right in here. Washburn, we need to be in our safe spot right now. We have not, up to this point, seen a new tornado warning issued, though I would be very surprised if we don't get one. Probably a coordinated warning. It's going to have to be some sort of coordinated warning that likely extends kind of in this area right through here up into Franklin County and into parts of Logan County. In fact, I can zoom out here a little bit. My guess is, let's go ahead and just draw this on the map. The next warning is going to probably look something like this right here. Not exactly, but it's likely to encompass this general area right here, okay? Right in through northern Logan County, okay, into portions of southern Franklin County. That's where I expect that next tornado warning to be. And that new one's probably going to include us in Boonville. And we've got a new update now here. zooming in real close. And again, here's Highway 10. Here's the area. Here's Burnville. Here's Highway 252. Here's Washburn. Here's that spin up right there. And doesn't look necessarily any worse, maybe a little better, certainly not any worse than the previous update from our radar, but something we'll have to keep watching pretty carefully. And Robert's got some new information. Robert, what do you have for us?
I'll just add that this complex of storms, we do have a new severe thunderstorm for Franklin County, a severe thunderstorm warning. Now we're talking wind gusts possibly up to 70 miles an hour as this storm moves off to the east, Darby, at 40 miles an hour. So we've seen a little bit of it all. Golf ball size hail possible, and now those wind gusts, it seems like with each new severe thunderstorm warning, those wind gusts increase and increase and increase.
Yeah, we've seen, but then again, we've only gotten one report of the 70 plus. As you mentioned earlier, near Rock Island. So we'll see. We'll see whether we get those really strong winds. Latest from our radar right here in Fort Smith, not really indicating the very intense winds just yet, but we are starting to see, look at this, an uptick in the strength of the winds, going from not particularly strong at all, and the winds were not very strong over Fort Smith. And it looks like that's still the case, but if you take a look, Robert, at the recent wind gusts over the area, is that still the case? It is
still the case.
All right.
Which is thankful.
The strongest wind gust was what, 5, 10, 15 miles per hour or something.
Right.
So we never did see those winds get very intense over Fort Smith. But in localized areas, we've seen it pick up, as Robert mentioned earlier, near Rock Island. And I suspect some pretty intense winds right now actually going on near the area where we got some pretty large hail earlier. Well, a little bit south of that area, but not too far. And actually in the Washburn area, some pretty intense straight line winds perhaps for us. And then there's that rotation still right there in the middle of that tornado warning. Robert, I'm going to let you take over for a second here.
Okay. So yeah, as Darby was mentioning, you can see the polygon. That's a tornado warning that remains in effect for the next 10:15 is when that tornado warning expires. Now that is assuming that it is not expanded to the east. We also have that severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 10:15 for Franklin County, as we were just talking about. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts are possible with that storm as it moves off to the east at 40 miles an hour. And you can see, again,
that's an absolutely, that is a monster of a storm.
Yes, we talk about supercells, and what sort of,
I don't know if that would, it qualifies as a supercell, but I don't know if the entire cell qualifies. I still almost would say that it would go down, I guess in the record books or whatever you want to call it, is still this QLCS we were talking about earlier. But it's got an embedded supercell in it, for sure, at the very least. Just the size of this thing really is incredible. Are we getting any new information from the folks in Little Rock if they're going to issue a new tornado warning on this? Because it's just a monster storm.
Tornado threat does not look imminent, but 70 mile an hour.
And I agree with that. I agree with that the tornado threat's not imminent necessarily, but it's still.
They are saying that 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts and golf ball size hail are still expected as it moves into western Logan County. And we did also get from Tulsa, we've got street flooding reported on Old Highway 271 south of Pecola. So that's just in. So, as we were mentioning, folks, it's just not the tornado threat that we have here. That's the main threat, but it's the very heavy rainfall. It's the dangerous hail. It's the flash flooding. It's a buffet of hazards, literally, that we're dealing with here with this intense supercell. You can see there, Darby, just to the east of that polygon, looks like some hail might be being picked up on the radar right there.
Here.
Yeah.
That's almost a guarantee that's some hail right there. And what we're seeing right here, where we see this area kind of pushing out ahead, this is what we call the rear flank downdraft. And when you've got a rear flank downdraft as strong as this supercell has got, or whatever you want to call it, anyway, that can shut down tornado potential very quickly. It can help to enhance tornado potential in certain situations. It's a balance, a careful balance that we don't want to be reached. But it is a balance, essentially, the act of producing these storms, producing a tornado. And when that balance is offset by very strong winds, what we call the rear flank downdraft, these very strong winds pushing out along the southern edge of these storms, that tilts the balance in the direction of just strong straight line winds. But that can be concerning too, and that can certainly cause damage. And that's a big part of why we've got the severe thunderstorm warning. And actually see that's the rear flank downdraft. This is the red indicating winds away from the radar. Let's see if we can pick up on the exact intensity of some of these winds. About 50. Yeah, right at about 50. So strongest winds just came through Washburn, now coming toward the area very close to Boonville, is going to get hit by these very strong winds. This is the rear flank downdraft. It's going to come in kind of like a gust front, really, into Boonville, and 50+ mile-per-hour winds certainly seem possible, though most of the winds are kind of more than likely going to be in the range of 25 to about 40 or 45. Let's go ahead and pull back up our storm relative velocity data. And again, here, as we take a look at this, we've seen that area of spin that we had earlier begin to kind of go away again, just a little bit. Though we still have some of that rotation actually right here. That may be.
And then the Weather Service office in Little Rock saying that, and it piggybacks off of what you were saying, that there is an area of cyclonic convergence west of Washburn, but nothing indicating that there is a tornado in Logan County yet.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So that's good news.
Folks, as we're trying to make a cake, but we're missing the eggs.
Right.
To get that tornado to, pop down and touch the ground. And remember, it's not a tornado until it makes contact with the ground. It's just your plain Jane funnel cloud there.
Yeah. The funnel clouds don't do any damage.
Correct.
They're not. They're not really a problem until they touch the ground. They haven't. Is the National Weather Service in Tulsa thinking about expiring this tornado warning? Are they going to continue it on? I mean, that area of circulation is actually still kind of in that area.
I have not seen a discussion about the possibility of extending it. Okay. I believe that warning goes until 10:15. I believe that tornado warning goes till.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of time for that determination to be made. But still, I mean, as Darby takes you for a tour of the radar, plenty of heavy rain around and back across the west. In fact, there is some discussion. They've already expanded portions of the tornado watch across sections of northeast Oklahoma. Right now, it's not looking like that will be expanded into northwest Arkansas, which is certainly good news.
Yeah, I would say that there wouldn't be any reason for that.
But still dealing with some moderate rain across portions of northwest Arkansas, and we can hear the rain at times hitting our ceiling here in Rogers.
Occasional heavy rain, as we knew we would have. But again, it's just, it really, really makes me feel good to see that the boundary, this is going to be the main boundary tonight, is setting up right over the top of us. And so the worst of that rain is probably going to be farther and farther east. Now, that's not good news, obviously. The farther east you go, especially into North Arkansas and areas east of Fort Smith. But for folks in Benton County and northern Washington County that just got absolutely hammered by that heavy rain this morning, it's definitely very good news for those folks. And I mean, we're talking incredible amounts of rain. You would have had to almost see it to believe it when it happened this morning. I was talking to my wife, and she said that she was trying to get our son to daycare and had to turn around, I think, 3 or 4 times because she ran into barricades, high water, this and that. And I know a lot of people had that experience this morning. But anyway, the good news is we're not seeing that necessarily in northwest Arkansas, but this supercell is trying to take this. So the rear flank downdraft has been shoved out ahead, and so we could actually get a new area of circulation develop right over Logan County. This is This is a beast of a supercell, I can tell you that, folks. And so over the Clarksville area, and then, of course, over the Charleston area, as we can see right now. And folks in Greenwood can tell you that they probably had a little bit of hail. Have we gotten any reports from Greenwood?
We have not yet.
The National Weather Service hasn't.
Correct.
Okay.
And but the Little Rock office is acknowledging that right front downdraft and saying that 70-mile-an-hour winds are headed right into Boonville.
Right. And we were just talking about that. Okay, let's go ahead and switch out of here, pull up our base velocity data, and that's going to give us the best idea of where those strongest winds. You can see them right here. So again, folks, we were talking about this earlier. This area right here, very strong winds coming right into Boonville. This could cause damage. Now, our radar in Fort Smith right now is not estimating 70-mile-per-hour winds. I think it's good. The best we're going to see is 40 to 50. Yeah, about 50. So we're seeing some near 50 from our radar in Fort Smith, heading toward this area again between Chisholmville area, the Brownsville area, and Boonville. So it could certainly strengthen above that, and the National Weather Service estimating 70-mile-per-hour winds is completely reasonable despite what we're seeing here on radar. So certainly even higher gusts towards 70, maybe even 75 miles per hour with this storm. So what I would say in the Boonville area, even though we don't have a tornado warning now, is we probably do want to be going ahead and getting into that safe spot as quickly as possible, and not treating it necessarily like a tornado, but certainly treating it at least kind of like a situation in which let's go ahead and at least be in the kind of the middle of the house in general, at least stay away from windows, that kind of thing, because I'm worried about debris getting flung in all different directions, and that's definitely a concern. Storm relative velocity data not showing anything particularly intense here. Robert, it sounds like, has some new information.
Yeah,
Robert?
Little Rock has decided to pull the trigger on extending the severe thunderstorm warning into portions of Logan County and southwestern Johnson County.
The tornado warning or the severe
thunderstorm warning? The severe thunderstorm
warning.
warning.
So and there it is right there. There's the new warning. Okay.
We're talking golf ball size hail and 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts as this storm cruises onto the east at about 40 miles an hour.
Yeah. Okay. So it's actually slowed down a little bit. There was 50 earlier, and now it's
picking up. It's slowing down. It's just the nature of these storms here.
Yeah. And the tornado warning looks like it should be expiring soon. They've got it going through 10:15. They're going to have to cancel that warning. As Tulsa talked about that, they need to expire that.
They have not expired it. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
The last discussion was that the current circulation is a little bit elongated near the tip of southern Franklin County, and the next attempt of that storm to possibly spin up will be up to Little Rock.
Yeah. So I agree. They need to get rid of the tornado warning.
We'll be keeping our eye on that as well. But again, as we've been saying, it's still a very dangerous storm.
There it is. Now it's gone.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's gone. Okay. I was wondering why it hadn't been expired just yet. Yeah, still a dangerous storm, and still a storm that looks like it's certainly capable of some stronger winds. But again, no current tornado warning currently on the map. Robert, I'm going to let you take over for a few minutes, and I'll be right back.
Okay. So, folks, here want to show you these are the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have in effect. Again, the latest one was just issued out of the National Weather Service in Little Rock. We're going to, if we could take those graphics full screen, guys. We're talking about this polygon right here that is in portions. This polygon right here that was just issued, we're talking about Logan County and southwestern Johnson County, this going until 11 o'clock Central Time as this severe thunderstorm located about 5 miles to the northwest of Boonville, moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour. I'm going to turn the radar on so you can see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, so this particular storm moving to the northeast at 40 miles an hour with the potential for golf ball size hail and wind gusts to 70 miles an hour, Darby.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like we're going to start our 10 p.m. broadcast here pretty soon. Is that right, Melody? Is that right, Melody? We're going to start our 10 p.m. broadcast here pretty soon. Well, anyway, we are certainly, again, still tracking this storm. I believe we're going to start a 10 p.m. broadcast here soon. I haven't heard from Melody just yet, but she's on the phone right now. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so that's okay. We're going to continue to watch this again as it comes through Logan County. Definitely still a pretty powerful storm, and as Robert, I think you were alluding to, that big hail is still really definitely a possibility.
Golf ball size hail with that cell, and you can see it there on the hail tracker just south of Colksville and toward Paris. So those are the areas that should be preparing for things to get a little bit nasty outside.
Yeah, right there. All right, we're going to start a 10 p.m. broadcast of the news right now. We'll have a full update on the weather coming up.
Well, a family survives a tornado hitting their home. An inside look at the damage and how they escaped that storm unharmed.
And folks, we are again tracking a very nasty storm making its way through Logan County right now, parts of Franklin County as well. We'll have a full update on this one, what to expect the rest of the night, and on into the rest of the week as well. That's coming up.
Plus, a local man offers a helping hand. We'll tell you how he rescued his neighbors from their flooded homes.
Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News at 10.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to 4029 News. I'm Paige Boise.
Hey, good evening. I'm Brandon Evans. More rain falling across our area, and Chief Meteorologist Darby Bybee and Robert Sir, they've been telling you about these tornado warnings, severe storm warnings. We're going to go now to Darby with the latest.
Yeah, and it's a severe thunderstorm warning that we have now, but a truly impressive supercell thunderstorm that definitely capable of some larger hails we've been telling you about. The good news is the tornado warnings have been allowed to expire. The bad news is we still have some pretty intense storms. We've got this storm, again, moving through Logan County. As we were telling folks in Boonville earlier, we need to be inside, away from windows as these strong winds come through. Still watching for this storm to maybe still try to produce a tornado as it approaches the Paris area. But at the moment, the tornado threat extremely low, to the point that no tornado warning has been issued, though we do have the severe thunderstorm warning with this storm. Main concern of the Paris area on over to Charleston. In between these areas is that hail and that wind. So a storm we have to continue to follow very carefully. Other storms moving through the River Valley here into Sequoia County. Some very heavy rain setting up. Flash flooding will set up over this area. And we do have a flash flood warning in place there in Sequoia County. All right, so flash flood warnings already getting issued now across East Oklahoma. Probably going to get additional ones across the River Valley where some of the heaviest rain will fall tonight. Now, we do have showers and storms across northwest Arkansas as well. Not nearly as much activity. That's kind of the good news for us. Let's go ahead and take you hour by hour through the rest of the night. And as we go through the night, we have these storms across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, but the primary boundary setting up right here, basically from the Fort Smith, Van Buren area to Poteau, up to Huntsville, and then kind of gradually pushing on off to the east throughout the night. Should be mostly out of the area by about 3, 4 in the morning. And then by about 6, 7 a.m., we start to see things calm back down a good little bit. So that's the good news, and maybe even seeing a little bit of sunshine tomorrow. But in the meantime, we do have some pretty intense rains, strong thunderstorms across northwest Arkansas. Nothing severe, no new flash flood warnings. That's the positive. We'll have to continue to watch that storm in Logan County. For tell us more.
You can keep going, too.
And to tell us more about how much rain we could see the rest of the night, we're going to go over to meteorologist Robert Sir.
Yeah, Darby, and that rainfall, and it does look like, and we'll get back to that in a second, it does look like we did have a new tornado warning that was just issued for portions of the River Valley. But all of those storms are dropping copious amounts of rainfall, and you could run into flooded roads. In fact, you can see here 6 inches of water is all it takes to sweep you away. 12 inches is all it takes to start to sweep your car away. And we're going to go back to Darby for the latest on that tornado warning.
We've got a new tornado warning just when we step away just for a second. You take your eye off the ball for a second, and there it is. So here's the new tornado warning. Again, we've been watching for the rotation in this storm very carefully. And let's go go ahead and I want to take this off right here. And first thing I want to do is stop the map actually and get the new information on this tornado warning till 10:45. This Robert, you got something for us?
Yeah, according to the Weather Service office in Little Rock, a spotter at the Mercy Hospital in Boonville was looking northwest towards Chisholmville and did see a funnel cloud. So that's probably why we have this new tornado warning. So a funnel cloud was allegedly spotted by an employee at the Mercy Hospital in Boonville.
And look, Chisholmville right here, Boonville right here. You can see, certainly from Boonville and certainly from Chisholmville as well, any kind of funnel cloud trying to form. And let's go ahead and take a look. Again, this new warning till 10:45 does include the Boonville area, though, to be perfectly honest, that threat of a new tornado is really more to the north of Boonville, here closer to the Brownsville area around Chisholmville right now. So in Boonville, there really isn't a threat of a tornado within town right here, but you go just a little bit north of Boonville, and that's where our threat is currently. Now, earlier there was a little bit for that threat in Boonville, but it was mainly a straight line wind threat. Now this storm is organized, and this happens sometimes where you get that rear flank downdraft, that very strong push of winds out ahead of the storm. It initially shuts down the tornado potential, but as time goes on, you can actually start to see that push of winds, that rear flank downdraft, actually help to organize the storm in the long run, which is not what we wanted, but that's kind of what we're getting right here, right now. So let's go ahead and take a look once again at...
While you're doing that, I'll just let you know, Harvey, that we're talking about Logan County and South Central Johnson County, as well as North Central Yell County till 10:45. Weather Service saying tornado is possible, as well as golf ball size hail. And what's important, this storm is now slowing down, just moving to the east at 35 miles an hour now. So if we don't see a tornado, it'll be a longer period of very heavy rainfall and potentially large damaging hail.
Yeah, and that is very interesting to see, Robert, this storm speed up and then slow back down again. That is a little bit bizarre, but tornado, at least it doesn't look to be at the moment. If it takes a turn north, I guess it could. But better. And some towns do run their sirens for the severe thunderstorm warnings. So we know that does happen sometimes. And then this could be also an anticipation that, if this does try to take more of a jog to the north in the Clarksville area, which looks kind of unlikely. I think the tornado threat, if I could draw it on the map here for you, and I'll do that here.
We do have a little bit of more information here from Sebastian County Emergency Management. Darby, we got reports that a spotter did see a funnel cloud west of Greenwood. Emergency management crews searched the area, did not find any damage. There's been no 911 calls of a confirmed tornado, but there has been some flash flooding in the Greenwood area within the last 30 minutes, especially on the east side. Road crews were on Highway 10 between Greenwood and Boonville and had to pull over because the amount of rain falling was just too great for them. We've got reports of a tree down on Highway 252. A portion of the road is blocked. Road crews are working to clear that as well. So,
were there any swiftwater rescue reports in there?
Not that I have gotten lately, no.
Okay.
Which is certainly good news.
That is good news. But several instances where there were a little bit of damage in different spots.
And Little Rock is saying that for this particular storm that you see on your screen, folks, low-level rotation still not very organized, which is good news. Between Paris and, forgive me, Subiaco, if I'm saying that correct. Subiaco. But they're going to keep the tornado warning going as the environment and the storm structure remain favorable for supercells and tornadoes. And a new severe thunderstorm warning will be issued shortly for western Logan County as a new supercell has developed west of Boonville. Thankfully, doesn't look as strong. So right now it's looking like quarter-size hail and 60-mile-an-hour winds. But that is still nothing to take lightly.
No, it absolutely is not. And given some of the damage reports Robert was just telling us about, it sounds like this storm has, at least at times, not everywhere, but at times, produced winds maybe in excess of 60 miles per hour. We don't have any indication that it's been doing that the entire time, but occasionally it seems like we've had some wind gusts over 60 miles per hour with this storm as it's kind of moved its way off to the east-northeast, and it sounds like we're going to get a new warning on this storm. Another one that's going to kind of clip the Boonville area. So Boonville, a popular area for these storms tonight. There's that severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go ahead and pull that severe thunderstorm warning information up. Goes to 11:15 this evening. So a new severe thunderstorm warning for a zoom out here. This looks like almost I don't want to say the exact same area as the tornado warning's other severe thunderstorm warning, but you can see pretty clearly, or at least I can pull it up here pretty quickly for you. And when you look at the map right here, just looking at the warnings, we've got the severe thunderstorm warning right here for the storm that's also got a tornado warning, because they're also worried about straight line winds with the storm that could eventually produce a tornado that so far we don't think has. And then we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning just behind it that encompasses an area very similar to the same area that just had a pretty nasty storm move through. So really getting worked over here in Logan County. And when you get that very heavy rain with the first cell pushed through, and then you get very heavy rain with the second cell, then you also start to get more into that flash flooding territory. Folks in Benton County and northern Washington County can tell you a lot about that from earlier on today. And so definitely a series of nasty cells that we'll have to continue to watch. It is interesting to see this cell here in Logan County as it's continued to organize. Robert, we've got some new information from you.
A report into the Weather Service of golf ball size hail along Highway 277, 2 miles north of I-40. That was, that goes with the warning. That was part of the hail size that was possible with this storm, and now a report into the Weather Service office in Tulsa of golf ball size hail reported along Highway 277, just a few miles north of Interstate 40. It unfortunately didn't give a specific town name, but I'm assuming, you know, within one of those cells that we're seeing.
Okay, so an additional golf ball size hail report. About what time did they say? Or does it say?
That report came in about 4 minutes ago to the Weather Service, but it didn't say specifically when that individual saw that hail.
Did they give a counting?
They did not. I can try to look up where Highway 277 is.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's take a look at this storm again real quick here. Again, this is definitely a nasty one here, and it probably has produced some occasional golf ball size hail, occasional hail, maybe approaching these areas. But in general, it is still just kind of a strong wind threat. I don't foresee really big hail with this over the next, well, looks like they dropped the tornado warning. That is good news. We have seen kind of a decrease in organization with this storm. Is that true, Robert? It looks like they've dropped they've canceled the tornado warning on this storm.